Hello, I'm Catherine Randall and I'm a time tunneler. I hope you had a lovely Christmas and I hope you were able to send and receive some presents. And if you did, I wonder how you thanked the people that sent them to you. I expect most people maybe sent a text on their phone or a message or an email. I wonder how many people actually put pen to paper and sent a written letter through the post. One of the fun things about writing historical fiction is that you get to discover how people did fairly ordinary things in the past. Both for my book The White Phoenix, set in 1666, and for the book I'm currently writing about, which is set in the 1850s, I've had to find out how people sent messages when they weren't able to just pick up a phone or send an email. I mean, how did you communicate with somebody who lived in a different town from you 400 years ago, or even 200 years ago? I thought the best thing to do might be to ask two of my characters how they sent letters in their time. So I've asked Mistress Hopper from 1666 and Mrs. Starling from 1855 how they sent letters in their time. I have to point out that both these characters live in London. Hello, I'm Mistress Hopper and I live in London in the year of our Lord 1666. If I want to send a letter, it's very easy. I just have to take it to the General Post Office, the General Letter Office in Threadneedle Street in central London, not far away from where I live. And there it's wonderful. It can get to merchants in Edinburgh in 4 days or Bristol in 2 days. But I don't have to pay myself either. The person at the other end who receives the letter, they pay for it. Sometimes if they don't want to receive it, then they don't pay for it and they don't even receive it. So it's a very, very good system, but you have to be careful. You don't want to send anything that you don't want other people to read, because the people at the General Letter Office, they are always reading your letters to check that you haven't said anything bad about the king or about the regime. Anyway, I must get off to the post office now to post my letter. Oh, I want to be careful. Don't want to set fire to it, do I? That would be terrible. Hello, my name is Mrs. Emmeline Starling and I write dozens of letters. It's terribly easy. All I have to do when I finish writing my letter is take it down to the pillar box at the end of the street. It used to be much more difficult. We used to have to give them to the letter carriers wearing their beautiful scarlet outfits, and they used to come to the door. But now all we have to do is take it to the pillar box, and there are 10 collections a day. So I sometimes get, well, we receive 12 deliveries a day. So you can get a letter within an hour and a half from the person posting it, which is absolutely marvellous. And of course these days, since 1840, since the introduction of the penny post, we just buy stamps and you stick the stamp on the letter, and then the post office knows that you've paid for it, and so the person at the other end doesn't need to pay to receive the letter, which is what used to happen in the old days. So honestly, I can't imagine a better way of communicating. I can't imagine a faster way. Good afternoon. Did you notice how Mistress Hopper said that the General Letter Office in London would open letters to check that they weren't saying anything against the government or the king? Luckily, there were other ways of sending letters in 1666. In my book, The White Phoenix, letters are quite important to the plot, but some of them are sent by other ways than by Royal Mail. For instance, you could give your letter to a carrier, somebody who was taking people or goods to another town. Or you could just give it to a friend who was travelling to another town to deliver. If you were rich, you could probably have your own private messenger. In fact, some of these ways, the carriers or the messengers might be safer, because postboys, especially later in the 18th century, they were liable to be attacked by highwaymen who thought that they were carrying gold or money with in their post bags. Or also they might be attacked by press gangs, people who were trying to find people to fight for the king. I think both my characters would be absolutely amazed at how quickly we can communicate with each other these days. Though I have to say that I'm very impressed that the Victorian postal system meant that you could send a letter and get a reply the very same day. So for your writing challenge this week, I'm going to give you 2 suggestions. Either, why don't you write a message or a letter to somebody from the past explaining to them how you send messages, how you communicate with people these days, how you might just send an email, or you might even send a message on your phone, but you'd have to explain to them what a phone was first. Alternatively, you could handwrite a proper old-fashioned thank you letter to somebody who sent you a Christmas present and put it in the post like they did in the old days. I bet whoever you send it to would be delighted to receive it. Whatever you do, I hope you have fun, and Happy New Year!